Here are some of the most common lies we tell ourselves. I can't. I can't get out of debt. I can't break the addiction. I can't say no to fast food. I can't change. I will. I will finish college one day, just not now. I will call them, just need to think about it. I will put Jesus first, just got to date around first. I am resisting temptation as best I can. I am disciplining my child every time she talks back. I am initiating healthy relationships. Listen to me. This is where the deepest and most dealing with this is where the deepest and most powerful type of spiritual growth occurs. Where you acknowledge the lie you love to live and say, God, it may hurt, but I want you to flood with your light the darkest corners of my soul and free me from the lies I love to live so I can walk in your truth and grace. The one I say on here is I am. I typically say it like this: I am trying my best. The biggest lie I, Carl, enjoy believing is that I've given my best effort, and it can be with working out, writing, eating healthy, parenting, pursuing purity, stretching my mind, showing kindness, you name it. I love convincing myself that I am trying my best. I am very good at rationalizing why the effort I gave was 100%. And I try to tell myself this lie all the time, because if I can convince myself I gave my all, then if it goes south, I don't have to worry about the bad consequences that come of it. After all, it's the best I could do. But it's a lie. Very rarely do I give 100% the full best effort I am capable of. Here's why. Because that's exhausting. It's hard. It's not fun. So I choose to lie, and I'm lazy. And this is what we do. We say, I can't change in how I treat people. I can't handle money any better than that. I can't be more kind to the customers. I will be more patient with my kids, just let them mature a little bit more first. I will eat healthy, just need to get through the holidays. I will start fasting, just to have all these work meetings. I am working on my marriage. I am giving my best efforts. I am gentle. We recognize I'm the worst of sinners. And it just feels like I can't help sometimes but suppress the truth by my wickedness. I know right about now, you're thinking, man, I'm so glad I came to church today so Romans could just fill me up and encourage me. This is great. Don't worry, we're gonna get to hope. But before we do, or as we transition to hope, I wanna show you this one phrase I said we would come back to. At the beginning of the verse, it says, God shows his anger. Now, this sounds bad. I wanna show you why you're actually glad about this, why you actually long and hope for this. And another translation you may have read says it's God's wrath, which maybe sounds even worse, but this is a good thing. That word anger, orge, means to slowly swell before bursting. Meaning, it's not an instantaneous flip of the switch where God just loses his temper. It takes time to build. It's why the other scripture says God is slow to anger, abounding in love. But I want to explain this by showing you what the Old Testament prophet Nahum said about God's anger. The Lord is a jealous God, filled with vengeance and rage. He takes revenge on all who oppose him and continues to rage against his enemies. The Lord is slow to get angry, but his power is great. And here's the phrase: he never lets the guilty go unpunished. That's really important. It's real key to God's anger, because when you hear God's anger, please don't think of a parent losing their temper irrationally. Don't think of that bad marriage fight you had where you threw daggers and knew you were gonna have to apologize for it at some point. Don't think abusive relationship. Holy anger, as opposed to those things, is part of righteous character. Because think about this, in order to be a good parent, to be a good person, you must have anger against what is not good. And as a parent, if I love my child, if someone is trying to seduce them or kidnap them or physically harm them, I will be angry with a holy, righteous anger against that person that is rooted in love for my child. And because God is righteous, he never lets the guilty go unpunished. See, we long as Christians for that day of no more tears or crying or pain, where those things are gone forever. And the reason they're gone forever is because God's righteous and holy, perfect judgment beyond anything we could assume would be just has been executed, and there is no injustice for which we will need to cry any longer. We long for God's anger because we long for things to be made right. And again, if your version of anger is a parent losing control and smashing things against the wall, that is the opposite of God's anger, because God's anger is perfectly in control and perfectly just. And if you're thinking, well, I don't want to experience God's anger, you don't have to. God's wrath was poured out on Jesus on the cross, on the sin that angers God that you committed and represents who you are. And so if you come to Jesus in humility, you will give him your sin, upon which God's wrath will be poured out, and he gives you his perfection, his righteousness, his holiness.